ملت ایران در مقابل تحمیل تسلیم هیچ کس نمیشه. دشمن صهیونی یک اشتباه بزرگی کرده.
At 86 years old, Ali Khamenei remains the unchallenged epicenter of Iran's political landscape. Since becoming supreme leader in 1989, he has commanded more authority than any president. The conservative leader is admired by supporters
شعار برابری جنسیتی به طور مطلق بودن این غلط
and fiercely criticized by opponents as a dictator. Yet he now finds himself increasingly isolated, with many trusted confidants having been killed by Israel. As Iran grapples with external wars, crippling sanctions and mounting unrest at home, Khamenei governs with fewer allies than ever. In an era marked by escalating conflict with Israel,
اینایی هم که امروز سر کارن صهیونی و آمریکایی اینا هم بدانن که نمیتوانن در این مورد هیچ غلطی نمیتوانن بکنن
and renewed nuclear tensions.
و گستاخ آمریکا این خواسته رو با زبانهای گوناگون تکرار میکنن.
Understanding Khamenei's life and rule is more relevant than ever. Ali Khamenei was born in 1939 in Mashhad, one of Iran's holiest cities. His father, Javad Khamenei, was a respected cleric of Azerbaijani descent, known for his deep religious knowledge and ascetic lifestyle. Life was tough, he once said. My father, though a well-known religious figure, was a bit of an ascetic. We had a hard life. Sometimes for supper we had nothing but bread with some raisins, which our mother had somehow improvised. Our house, some 65 square meters, consisted of a single room and a gloomy basement. When visitors came to see my father as the local cleric to consult about their problems, the family had to move into the basement while the visit went on. Years later, some charitable persons bought the small empty lot adjacent to our house, so we were able to build 2 more rooms. At 4, Khamenei and his brother started at a maktab or a school to learn the Quran. Later, he moved to a seminary in Mashhad. At 18, Khamenei travelled to Najaf in Iraq in 1957 to study under renowned scholars, but his father called him back in 1958 to calm Iran's religious heart. There, he studied under Imam Khomeini, the revolutionary firebrand who would change his life. Khamenei once said, in the areas of political and revolutionary ideas and Islamic jurisprudence, I'm certainly a disciple of Imam Khomeini. He later received the news that his father had lost his sight in one eye, and so Khamenei had to return to Mashhad. Khamenei's first taste of rebellion came at 13, inspired by Nawab Safavi, a cleric who railed against the then monarchical regime of Shah during a fiery lecture at his school. Khamenei became a mujtahid, meaning an Islamic scholar, and began teaching, but politics beckoned. In 1962, Khamenei followed Imam Khomeini's followers, opposing the Shah's pro-Western policies. He was arrested, tortured and exiled, but never backed down. He carried secret messages, organized protests and spent months in solitary confinement. Sawak, the Shah's feared secret police, arrested him 6 times. Each time he returned to teaching and organizing, undeterred by threats or torture. Khamenei married Mansoor Khojaste Bagarzadeh in 1964. They have 6 children. Khamenei is fluent in Persian, Arabic and Azerbaijani. He loves poetry, writing under the pen name Amin, and even plays the tar, a traditional stringed instrument. He was known to be a smoker, an unusual habit for a religious man. As the 1979 Islamic Revolution neared, Khamenei joined the Islamic Revolutionary Council. He helped shape the new republic, serving as a founding member of the Islamic Republic Party, Deputy Minister of Defense, and Imam of Tehran's Friday prayers. He survived an assassination attempt in 1981. A bomb left his right arm partially paralyzed and damaged his vocal cords and lungs. That brush with death did not slow him down. After President Mohammad Ali Rezai was assassinated, Khamenei was elected president, a role then largely ceremonial but still powerful. He was re-elected in 1985, guiding Iran through the brutal Iran-Iraq war and deepening his ties with the Revolutionary Guards. When Khomeini died in 1989, Khamenei was a surprise choice as supreme leader. He lacked Khomeini's religious stature, but a constitutional change allowed a low-ranking cleric to take the role.
Comparatively, if you compare these two leaders, the current leader has less religious standing in comparison to his predecessor, Ayatollah Khomeini.
Yes, you are right, absolutely, that he was comparatively a lightweight in the Iranian, I would say, the theocratic establishment. But at the same time, he became supreme leader eventually. And once he became supreme leader, he has been trying to step into the shoes of his predecessor and the founder of the Islamic Republic in that sense. Fact is that they all are both are very conservative leaders. Their essential approach has been very similar.
At 50, Khamenei ascended to the top post of the supreme leader of Iran. The Islamic Revolution had not just changed Iran's leadership, but it also changed its symbols. The Iranian flag, once adorned with a lion and sun, was replaced by a stylized Allah and a phrase, Allahu Akbar, which means God is greatest, repeated 22 times. This new flag marked a break from Iran's monarchical past and signaled a new Islamic identity. Khamenei's rule is marked by a systematic clampdown on Iran's institutions. He tightened control over the judiciary, the media, and the political system. Reformist presidential voices were also purged.
دولتی مذاکره نباید کرد. مذاکره کردن عاقلانه نیست، هوشمندانه نیست، شرافتمندانه نیست.
Including the current one, these are a bit of reformist president, if I may say so.
Several of these other presidents that they were allowed to operate, they were also somewhat less conservative. I would not say moderate in that sense, including the current one. They have come. So there are two strains of, I would say, the powers. Of course, the supreme power, all powers vested in him, as per the, and they have the parliament majlis that is working. Most of them are conservatives. So they have their own thing, but they allow for the world because they have a lot of challenges. So he has permitted, in my view, to several of the actors a certain kind of an outreach possibility. And that is why you saw that the nuclear deal has been earlier negotiated, which has been a big no-no. Then this time also with Trump, they have been doing it. So there is a slight difference in his approach in that sense, perhaps because now it's already more than 45 years. So obviously, that's what I was trying to tell you, that this combo has worked reasonably well. Because if it does not work out, let's say the president and his ministers and others are not able to work out something to their advantage, the supreme leader is way beyond reproach. But they cannot proceed without his okay to say at the end of the day for everything. So it gives him certain kind of an off-ramp to denounce something that is not correctly done. Because from his point of view, the United States still remains a certain. It is still, they still talk about death to America, death to Israel and all that. That nothing has changed that from the very beginning. They're facing the realities of the world, how it is coming out. And so many years of sanction-ridden country is also facing severe challenges. Because Iranians essentially are moderate people. They want to, they respect their religion. But at the same time, there is such an, I would say, 50-50 divide among the people, especially the women and others who are very smart and want to play a greater role in which is not allowed so much in the current dispensation.
Khamenei transformed the Islamic Republic into a fortress, with himself as the unchallenged gatekeeper. Protests have been a recurring feature of Khamenei's rule. Each time, his response has been the same: clamp down hard. In 2009, after a disputed presidential election with allegations of election fraud and vote rigging, millions flooded the streets. The besieged paramilitary responded with force. Khamenei blamed foreign enemies and refused to yield. The Mahsa Amini protests in 2022 marked another turning point, sparked by the death of a young woman in police custody for allegedly violating hijab rules. Demonstrations erupted across Iran. Khamenei's response was uncompromising. He accused the West of fomenting unrest and ordered a crackdown. The cycle repeats: protest, repression, and silence. Khamenei's personal life is often shrouded in secrecy, but an investigation revealed that he controls a vast empire, including the Sittard, an organization which was established after the Islamic Revolution to manage and sell properties that were abandoned by people who fled Shah's regime. It had an estimated total asset value of about $95 billion as of 2013. Sittard's reach extends into nearly every sector of Iran's economy, including oil and energy. This makes Khamenei one of the most powerful and wealthiest figures in the country. He underwent prostate surgery in 2014, fueling speculation about his health and succession. Before 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran and Israel were allies under Shah's regime. The Shah's Iran supplied Israel with oil and intelligence. After the revolution, everything changed. Khamenei saw Israel as a quote-unquote cancerous tumor and backed groups like Hezbollah and Hamas.
این غده سرطانی از هنگام آغاز مرحله‌ای رشد کرده و به بلای کنونی تبدیل شده.
President Trump did not follow through on the regime change agenda per se. He was not against it, although he prefers it, but he told Netanyahu not to eliminate Khamenei because they could talk to somebody. And somewhere by this act, which in my view has been possibly a pre-planned thing. I mean, you inform the other side, this is what we are going to do. And if you can save your some assets, you do that. Same way the Iranian response towards their US bases in Doha has also played out in the same manner.
A quick fact: the Shia-Sunni issue centers on a dispute over who should have succeeded Prophet Hazrat Muhammad. Shia Muslims believe leadership should have stayed with Hazrat Muhammad's family through his designated son-in-law Hazrat Ali and his descendants, while Sunnis believe that it should be determined by Muslim community consensus. Shia Muslims form the majority in Iran, Iraq, Azerbaijan and Bahrain, with significant population in Lebanon, Yemen and parts of Pakistan and India, while most other Muslim majority countries including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh and North African nations are predominantly Sunni. Ali Khamenei has advocated for unity between Shia and Sunni Muslims, viewing sectarian discord as a tool exploited by external enemies, particularly Western powers and the US, to weaken the Islamic world.
یه عده رو وادار کنن از این طرف که لج اون طرف رو در بیاره.
So this is something what they have done in the recent past during his time only. You can see that they have gone ahead and improved relationships with Saudi Arabia, one of their arch enemy in the region, other Sunni countries also. So this has also happened during this period. Well, in this particular war, so far we have seen that all the Islamic countries, at least overtly, have stood with this Iran. They have very clearly issued statements condemning Israeli action because Israel provoked it. So therefore, although many of them would like to have very good relations with Israel as well, but then the Palestinian issue, the Iranian issue, then the ingress, and then the interventionism by the United States also play on their minds. So therefore, they know that there should be a regional security architecture within which they should be able to, and I think Khamenei endorses that very much.
In 2010, Khamenei issued a fatwa forbidding Shia Muslims from insulting revered Sunni figures.
He said that nuclear weapons are forbidden under his religious belief of Islam.
Yes. No, it is true, and this is what their policy is. But strategy is very different, than the policy, because at the end of the day, they have some of the finest nuclear scientists also. Many of them have been killed by Israel. So they have realized that even their civil nuclear program is there. They also feel, but he definitely believes in it, and he has been saying it several times that it has not been allowed in Islam. So that is one of the things, arguments that many of the people gave to the West, that Khamenei is not interested in getting a weapon. Yes, you know why? Because see, at the end of the day, a country has to run. It has to be a part of the international system. You cannot stay as a pariah state or an axis of evil or something like that. So you need to integrate it. There were a large amount of money that has been confiscated in the West, which are not being paid. They have been out of the system. They have been sanctioned most badly. They were able to survive, no doubt, because of their other relationships. But totally cutting off from West was not helping them at all. So that's why they went in for this, and that allowed them the civil nuclear energy, which they wanted very badly, and also at a later stage, if they wanted to develop it into a weapon or something like that, that was their intent, to be able to counter the Israeli, supremacy in the region.
With recent attacks by Israel and US on Iran's nuclear facilities, one expert who requested anonymity told Asianet News that the real game of US is to keep the world perpetually insecure so that the US can sell arms, maintain military bases, and preserve the dollar's dominance. Regional villains like Iran, Russia, and North Korea are kept just dangerous enough to justify endless military spending and intervention, while peace is deliberately avoided. So, is global instability a carefully managed product and not a policy failure? Even figures like Khamenei are not targets to be toppled but assets to be preserved, so that the cycle of fear, profit, and power continues? So, the real question remains, will Khamenei also fall, or will he remain the indispensable villain in America's never-ending play?